again. It is now term 2. It is term 2 work. That's what we are covering in our P6 workbooks. Yes, so if you have not yet acquired the term 2 workbook, welcome you. Come and pick it. Yes, the charge is a 40k, a full set. English, Science, Math, SST. P6 term 2, we have already crossed. And we are in the first topic of term 2, which is family relationships. Family relationships. Like any other topic, this one also has its new words. I told you, English has topics that begin with different new words. They may not necessarily be new, but just believe these are the words you're supposed to encounter when you are going through the work to be covered in this topic. Some may not be new, others may be new. Let's go through the list together and we see what we know about them. We have the first word as aunt, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, father, mother, stepmother, stepbrother. Check the spellings of those words. Check the spellings of those words. Stepmother, strictly one word. No hyphen, no word. Stepbrother, once again, stepbrother is also one word. Father-in-law, father-in-law. This is a compound noun, but with hyphens. 2 hyphens, father hyphen, in hyphen, then law. Father-in-law. Then we have sister-in-law, grandmother. Master the spellings of these words. Any word connected to family relationships, starting with step, should be joined to the other word. Any compound noun, in other words, connected to family relationships with the word step, with the word grand, plus another word that is written as one word. For more study about this, I refer you to the dictionary. Check the dictionary, confirm those spellings before you take them from the teachers that gospel truth. Yes, we tell you this, but it's okay to refer to the dictionary to get to study further about such stuff. So from grandmother, which is one word, to stepsister, which is also one word, then twins, marry, triplets, quadruplets, and lastly nephew. Nephew is the last word in my list. But that doesn't mean it is the last word we can learn about in family relationships. It just means there are many other words that are connected to family relationships. What does the teacher have to tell us about these words? There's a lot of stuff to learn about connected to these words. That's on page 1 and page 2 in these new workbooks we are telling you to come and buy. Yes. You're going to get the proper definitions either from the dictionary or from your workbook. Most of these words are well defined, plus examples given in the workbook. So for further information, you can get the copy of the workbook, go through and see the different definitions that are given to you, plus the different ways we can use these words in sentences. Different sentences constructed using these words. Anyway, back to this. Who is your aunt? I'll talk about a few words here. Who is your aunt? Your aunt is a sister to your father or to your mother. You have a mother, that mother has a sister, or a sister to your mother is your aunt. Then you have a parent, a male parent, and that's your father. That father of yours has a sister. That sister to your father is your aunt. Next is the brother. Yes, brother. Do I need to say anything about brother? Yeah. A male child with whom you are born to the same mother. Yes. A male child with whom you share the mother or the father is your brother. Sister is the opposite of brother. Sister is the opposite of brother. That male child with whom you share parents. Then a cousin is a child of your aunt or your uncle. There's no word like cousin sister or cousin brother. If it is there, it is commonly used in a different country, and that is India. That is India. So you discover cousin brother is this kind of English, Indian English. If it is pure English, you don't talk about a cousin brother, you talk about a cousin. That's why we say a cousin is a child of your aunt. A child of your aunt is a cousin. Again, a cousin is a child of your uncle. You get it? Then your uncle is a male, should I say male? No. A brother to your father or mother is your uncle. Meaning the opposite of aunt is uncle. Get the spelling, not that uncle which is part of your body, part of your leg. This is UNCLE. In fact, with the vocabulary we normally discuss, our emphasis is always on the spellings. Spellings, master the spellings, master the different words that can be formed from the given words, and things will be easy for you in that topic. Then a father, who is a father? Father is your male parent. Your male parent is your father. Okay. This is now mother, and that means your female parent, meaning the opposite of father is that word, as taught you in P1, P2, P3. Stepmother, yeah, stepmother. With a stepmother, she comes into your home, she gets married to your father, and that's your stepmother. Meaning, she's not your biological mother. Suppose your biological mother divorced or left your home. Your dad chooses to marry again. That mom who comes, or that lady who comes and finds you in that family, is your stepmother, becomes your stepmother. Stepbrother, same story. Stepbrothers normally move with stepmothers. They come into your home. In other words, they step into your home. Then your father and this stepmother can give birth to children, and those children become your stepbrother. Not your stepbrother. Your stepbrother moves along with the mom or with a stepmom. That's a stepbrother. In fact, with a stepbrother, you don't share parents. Stepbrother or stepsister, you don't share that parents. Meaning, I'm not talking about that. I talk about a stepbrother. With a stepbrother, you don't share parents. If you share parents, what happens? The term changes from stepbrother to half-brother, meaning you share one of the parents. So, let's go. Father-in-law. Who is a father-in-law? Father-in-law is the father to your spouse, or a father to your husband or wife, I can say. That's your father-in-law. Then sister-in-law, that is sister to your husband or wife. Finally, in this column, we see grandmother. Who is a grandmother? A grandmother must be the mother of your parent. The mother of your parent is your grandmother. Be it your father's mother or your mother's mother, that one is your grandmother. Stepsister, we talked about stepbrother. So, remove the word brother, put their sister. Get the meaning of a stepsister. A stepsister, I would say that I should not talk about it, but maybe they may be somehow strange. You say stepsister, then a half-sister, what's the difference? With a stepsister, where do I need to write? Okay, a stepsister. This is an example, once again. Your father gives birth to you. Yeah, after of course marrying your mother, getting married to your mom. It's a family, they give birth to you. After giving birth to you, your mom leaves that family. Yes. Maybe she dies. Yeah, God forbid. Your mom dies, then after her death, your dad says no, it is impossible to stay alone. He marries again. He decides to marry again. And he marries a woman who already has a child from her former family. In other words, she may also be a divorced woman. A woman who was once in a marriage, then she left it. She's now meeting your dad who was also in marriage, and he separated with the mom. So this lady who has chosen to marry your dad or to get married to your dad comes in with a child who is a girl. In other words, her daughter. She comes into your family with her daughter. that daughter of hers becomes your stepsister. That daughter of hers becomes your stepsister. I believe it is very clear there. Then, the same lady is in your family, meaning, okay, with a stepsister, it means you do not have any blood connection to this sister. Why? Her father is in a different home. Her mother has also just come in, meaning there is no blood relationship with you and this stepsister or stepbrother. So this stepmom is going to give birth to a child who will be your sister, but not a real sister, because she's married to your dad, meaning you share the same dad with this daughter. So this daughter will be your half sister. The new sister you got from the new marriage between your dad and the stepmom is your half sister. I believe that should be enough. For a boy to be that boy will be your half brother. Next, we see twins, and these are two babies born at the same time to the same mother. Those are twins. If I go to marry, let me talk about triplets, then quadruplets. If twins are 2, then triplets are 3, from the word triple itself. From the word triple, 3. Then quadruplets are 4 babies or 4 children born at the same time to the same mother. Quadruplets. Master the spellings and master the meanings as well. Then a nephew is a child of your sister. A male child should be a male child. A male child of your sister is your nephew, or a male child of your brother is your nephew. What if that child is female? In other words, a girl who is a child of my sister. That one becomes your niece. Meaning niece is the opposite of nephew. I think that's what I can tell you about the new words. For other definitions, I refer you to the workbook, page 1 and page 2. We now go to an activity there, which is on page 23, connected to the very words the teacher has been talking about. You'll find the activity on page 2 and 3. Fill in the blank spaces with the correct words. Then rewrite the sentences giving a single word for the underlined group of words. That's on page 2. Then we see more vocabulary, well-defined examples given on page 2 and 3, plus a following activity on that very page. After that, there is something to do with prepositions. There is something to do with prepositions, and the teacher would rather teach you prepositions when you are together at school than when you are at home. Okay, meaning we'll cover what to do with prepositions from school. After prepositions still, there is something to do with adverbs. I had talked about adverbs in the previous workbook. So once again, adverbs are following us. But this time I want to assure you, this is all about formation of adverbs. The activities I see here are connected to formation of adverbs. So those ones people can do without requiring a lot of guidance from the teacher. So let me take you to the next page where we see a structure pattern, and that is about using just or already. Using just or already. Yeah, we remember to use just and already. We use the structure pattern above to in the present perfect tense. In the present perfect tense. What do you understand by the present perfect tense? Is the teacher told you about tenses or taught you about tenses? He must have told you that the present perfect is formed from has or have plus a past participle verb. That's the pattern for the present perfect. Talk of expressions like I have eaten. She has gone. My brother has left. These are expressions that show the present perfect tense. Now, when do we use just, or where do we put just in our sentence in the present perfect? We put just between the helping verb and the main verb. I repeat, we use just, we use already between the helping verb has or have and the main verb. So replace, insert already or just between these verbs, and you have got the pattern the teacher wants you to learn. And that is has, have, just, I have just eaten food. Then she has just gone or has already gone. What else do we see? My cousin has just left. But he has told you to use already, use just between the helping verb and the main verb. It is as simple as that. That's how easy it is to use just in a sentence. The other thing you're going to remember today, here and right now is when you're using just in sentences, you forget about the expressions of time that are mentioned in the question. There are questions that come that appear with some expressions of time. For example, I see Ketra. Let's look at example 1 carefully. Ketra gave birth to twins 4 days ago. Ketra gave birth to twins 4 days ago. Check this expression of time. That expression of time is the one the teacher is talking about. It should be excluded or kicked out of your answer. Then your answer is Ketra. Change it to present perfect. If this is gave birth, you're going to change it to present perfect, where the teacher has told you to use either has or have plus a past participle verb. So answer is Ketra has just given birth to twins. We have has, correct. We have just, correct, which is between the helping verb and the main verb. And that means our answer is perfect. Forget about the expressions of time or the adverbials of time that appear in the question. Our answer does include the words 4 days ago. If you include them, then you are wasting the word just. We used them here because we did have the word just here. That answer was well. Another one is Ketra has already given birth to twins. Ketra has already given birth to twins. Briefly, you're supposed to follow this. In other words, let's stick to this. You're supposed to follow this when you're constructing your sentences. Have or has plus already or just plus a past participle verb. And that's enough. Forget about the adverbs of time that are given to you or adverbials of time that are given to you in any position in those questions. Activity. Where we find the activity? It should be on page 10. Page 10 up to page 11, we see something to do with using just, using already. One is a table. Yes, you have to use a table to construct meaningful sentences. Meaning the words are given, your work is to pick them, assemble them properly, and come up with a meaningful sentence. What next? On page 11, we see a fill-in activity. Read, fill in with the correct form of the words given in brackets. And the tense we've told you is the present perfect. Use that. Then you rewrite the sentences given below as instructed. That is all still on page 11. Next. Would rather, using would rather. Using would rather. Very strange structure, meaning pay close attention to the teacher when he's explaining. using would rather. Some people want to say, I rather do this. No, I would rather. If you want to contract it, it's okay, especially in spoken English. I apostrophe D, meaning I would. Some people prefer saying, I'd rather do this. I'd rather, instead of I would. After all, I apostrophe D is the contracted form of I would. Okay. I would rather. He would rather. My cousin would rather. Oh yeah. We have examples about that pattern where we see I prefer having twins to triplets. I prefer having twins to triplets. Rewrite the above sentence using would rather. What does the teacher come up with as his answer in this example? You see, I would rather have twins than triplets. We go straight to the noun triplets because there is no other verb given here. If the verb is given to you in the question, we advise that you repeat it this side in your answer. Then, that's after than, between than and that noun. So, let's go. Question 2. In fact, this one is not as challenging as question 2. Question 2 is when kids shake their heads east to west, north, south, wondering, what do I do? There are two verbs. Should I repeat or should I leave it? Katie's son prefers the two verbs shopping to touring new places. Katie's son prefers shopping to touring new places. Use would rather. What happens is what you're going to see. Katie's son when you use would rather, he is giving you an option. What do you prefer to the other? Meaning, take out the word prefer. Would rather. After would rather, which kind of verb do we have? We have an infinitive verb, a verb in its base form, or infinitive form. Katie's son would rather shop, S-H-O-P. After shop, which is our infinitive verb, this time not a noun, please, not a noun, would rather shop than what? Than, again after than, you think of an infinitive verb, and that is T-O-U-R, than tour, new places. What do you do if you want to fail? If you want to fail, shift this word and place it here. Katie's son would rather shop than tour in new places. It is, Katie's son would rather shop than tour new places. I would rather watch TV all day than sleep. You see, lockdown time. I would rather watch TV all day than spend time in bed, than sleep, than sit. Okay, all those expressions we expect you to use when you are using or applying the use of would rather. Would rather dash than. We need a than this side, yes, to complete our structure. But our questions are normally said like this. Rewrite the sentences below using would rather. Then they forget this. In fact, they don't forget it. They hide it. Hiding it means it's you to find out what to use. Teacher is cheating for you as if he's telling you the best way to approach that kind of question. So you have an activity about would rather on page 12 of the workbook. I believe if you are following using this way workbook, you have already gone to page 12 to try out that activity. Using total, we are now crossing to the next structure pattern, and that is using 2-2. It's a structure common P45. P45 is haunting us up to P6. Meaning, can we avoid it to P7? And the answer is impossible. Or very hard to avoid 2-2 in other classes of upper primary. When we have instructions here, join the following sentences using to. Like any other sentence in English, whatever you are supposed to do, we follow instructions. So the instructions are telling us to join the following sentences using to. See what happens when the subjects are similar. Again, I'll show you what happens when the subjects are different. You may say, teacher, those subjects are not similar. Why? One is my cousin, the other one is she. Why do I say they are similar? She is a pronoun. If you ask you ask yourself, what does she stand for? Which noun does this pronoun stand for? It stands for the noun mentioned in the first sentence. My cousin is very young. She. Who? My cousin. I don't want to repeat it here, so I use she. Meaning, this is a pronoun standing for my cousin. That's why the teacher is telling you these two subjects are similar, because she refers to the same subject earlier mentioned in the first sentence. So you're saying, my cousin is very young, she cannot get married. My cousin is very young, she cannot get married. Use to answer. My cousin is T-O-O, young, to get married. My cousin is too young to get married. I repeat, my cousin is too young to get married. This is what happens when the sentences you are joining have the same subject. My cousin is too young to get married. The story is a little bit different, meaning you need to pay close attention to the teacher when he's explaining in the last example. It's a totally different story. When the subjects are different, there's something unique that happens. We are here now. The milk was very hot. Our little sister could not take it. The milk was very hot. Our little sister could not take it. Join using to. That's the structure pattern we are still dealing with. What happens? I'll give you a simple explanation here. Okay, before that explanation, I want to tell you if this subject is different from this. I believe there you agree. The subject milk is different from this one talked about in the second sentence. And that means you're going to use a specific word to introduce the next subject or the new subject. Here no word, no preposition was used because there was no new subject to talk about. Here you have a new subject, that is our little sister. So your answer will move like this. The milk is too hot. What do I do to introduce the next subject or the new subject? I use FOR. For our little sister. Small O because it is within the sentence. Our little sister. To take. To take or to take it? That's the question now. That's the question we semi-candidates have. Do we say to take or to, do we say the milk is too hot for our little sister to take it or to take? I'll put a full stop there. That's where our answer is. Teacher, why don't you use that last pronoun it? One may say because it refers to our little sister. And that explanation is not correct. Our explanation is in this example. Mama, should I say Mama Karen left some popcorns for me to eat. Should we say for me to eat them? We'll find out. That's one example. The other one I want to use to explain this is Daddy gave Joshua. Let's say Joshua. Let's slightly change the sentence. For the example, Daddy opened the room for Keisha. Keisha is a girl. The first Keisha I taught was a Tanzanian. For Keisha to use it. Let's look at these sentences. And when you look at them closely, you'll discover there is something wrong. There is something wrong with this sentence. Mama Carol left some popcorns for me to eat them. Daddy opened the room for Keisha to use it. You feel you don't need this. Again here you feel you don't need this. And this them, oh I have crossed it. This it, which again I have crossed, is a pronoun. Is a pronoun. This it is a pronoun. Similarly, this it is a pronoun. Since pronouns are not needed in such sentences, we just know they are also not welcome in any position in such sentences. Why? When we use preposition for to introduce a new subject in our sentence, we don't need the pronoun to refer to the noun talked about in the higher clause. Okay, let's look at this as well. We use before to introduce a new noun. We use before to introduce a new noun, meaning you don't need the last pronoun. Because of for, you don't need the last pronoun. Because of for, you don't need the last pronoun. So our answer ends here, that's going to be correct. Our answer will end here, that's going to be marked. Our answer will end here, this way will be marked. Do I need to say anything more to that? And what should that be? I'm directing you to an activity. Yes, I'm directing you to an activity on page 12. I mean page 13. Page 13 is where you are going to get that activity. And the next time we meet, the teacher will discuss how we can use so that and such that. So that should be part of our next lesson. We meet, and that will be on page 14 of the workbook for P6 Term 2. I wish you all the best. Work out whatever has been given to you in those activities, and all the best till we meet next time. Thanks for watching.